It's always easy keeping oaths and promises in the light of day, in predictable, everyday life. But when darkness comes, only your survival instinct can guide your decisions.
He couldn't make it, sir.
Mud and the smell of death are friends who will always judge you. Can your own suffering redeem you for decisions that are never completely right?
Hello again, I am Jim Bob and welcome to War Hospital. A relatively new game, it came out on January the 11th. I've been playing a lot of this over the last few days. I'm really enjoying it. It's grim, it's brutal, it gets a bit stressful, but yeah, I really enjoy this game. I really enjoy the choices it forces you to make, the moral dilemmas it throws at you, and overall it just really makes you think at times about, is it always right to do the right thing? Are there times when you have to do something a little questionable? And you'll see what I mean by that as we go through this series. I'm going to stream the entire gameplay. Well, I say stream. I'm going to record the entire game, all 3 chapters. I don't have the supporter pack add-on, which was, I think, a Marie Curie level yet. Might get that at some point in the future. But I've played through all of the first chapter a couple of times, and most, I think, or at least a good chunk of chapter 2 previously. But we're going to be starting from scratch here. I'll still be playing the game in the background on my own file, but so there may not be any surprises for me. But having said that, who knows? There might be something that comes up that I've not seen before. So let's get started with War Hospital. It's going to throw us into the front in France in the fight against the Germans in 1915. And let's go relive the brutal life of trench warfare.
My dear son, I was unable to stop the events that led to the fact that today I am going to the front and you are no longer there. You cannot imagine how much pain I carry in my heart. With your death, I question the sense of my continued existence.
This must be some kind of joke.
But fate throws me to a place where I might be able to save your colleagues and many others.
Hello, sir. My name is Grissing. the head doctor of this hospital. If I may speak freely, sir, we expected more than just an officer's rank to support our current situation. The Hun could break through our lines at any moment now.
Head Doctor, mind your tongue. This is our new commander in charge. Sir, I'm delighted that someone with your experience is joining us. I recall your work in London very well.
Praveen Kumar, head engineer. If you want something done, you should come to me, sir.
Major Henry Wells. As you all know, I was directed here to manage this hospital. I will count on your professionalism, regardless of your private opinions about me.
If I may, sir, we have wounded that are already waiting in casualty clearing station. We should tend to them first.
Agreed. We should not let them wait any longer.
To start, decisions must be made about their fate, sir.
So
Their
that's us,
files are
Major
already
Henry Wells.
waiting for you in casualty clearing station.
Alright, so normally the game boots up the first time you play it with tutorials installed or activated. We've turned them off for this because I've played through enough times to know what I'm doing now, but I'm sure at some point stuff will come up that is gonna catch me off guard. There are some scripted events, there are some random events. It's not always exactly the same. There are enough random elements in the gameplay to keep it a little bit fresh every time you repeat. Obviously the main storyline never changes, the main scripted events never change, but some of the other stuff that's in there does change from time to time as well. Right now we are assigning our staff to various different areas. Different staff will have different benefits in different areas. The nurses are hugely important, as they were in the war. The nurses, depending on where they're stationed, there are 3 places you can put them: casualty clearing, operating ward, and the rehabilitation centre. In the casualty clearing ward, any nurses in there will help slow down how quickly your patients deteriorate while they're waiting for treatment. The casualty clearing is kind of our triage area. Operating ward is obviously where we assign the treatment, and the more nurses you have in there, the better chance you have of successfully completing the operation, the better chance you have of being able to simplify the operation, and the lower chance there is of there being complications with the operation. And then the rehabilitation centre, you need to have a nurse in there just to get people rehabilitating at a standard rate, but if you start putting additional nurses in there, it speeds up how quickly those patients recover after their surgery, which again can be hugely important because you have to make the choice whether you send the patient back to the front lines, whether you send them to HQ, or whether you actually release them from service and send them home back to England. Engineers are our sort of worker ants in the background that keep the hospital running. So they will create new medical supplies, they'll create food, and also upgrade your facilities as you progress. And the medical teams are the guys that run around and collect the casualties from ambulances, from the front lines, from the trenches, when there's been an artillery strike or a bombardment. They will move patients from casualty clearing to the surgery, and then they'll move them from surgery to either the graveyard if things have not gone well, or we'll move them to rehabilitation as well. And we can also set up an advanced dressing station just behind the trenches, between the trenches and the hospital, to kind of administer some very basic first aid while those patients are being transported to casualty clearing, where you then go through the triage process. So yeah, pretty important. I would say nurses are probably, of the basic staff, the medics, the nurses and the engineers, nurses are vital. But obviously you need the doctors as well. We have at the bottom, you can see down here, this is our freight resource. We get regular shipments by train. Surgical supplies, we do not. We can either create new supplies using our engineers, which will take freight from here and turn it into medical supplies, or we can actually order medical supplies using promissory notes, which we'll get to in a second. We also have chemical medical supplies, and just to the left of that, which it skipped over, are trauma supplies as well. We don't have either of those two facilities set up yet, but we will need them later on. We have our morale at the bottom. We're 50-50 at the moment. Better the morale is, the better the hospital performs. If the morale stays high, our staff will perform faster and will get tired at a slower rate and recuperate when they're resting at a faster rate as well. So morale, hugely important. The higher the morale, better your hospital is going to run. The lower the morale, worse it's going to run. If the morale falls to 0, it's game over. Then we have our food supplies, alcohol supplies, which can be used in high-grade rations, but more commonly, will be used in manufacturing new trauma supplies or chemical supplies. And then we have the military drafts. These are our promissory notes. Anytime we send soldiers to HQ, they will give us a draft note of a value between 1 and 3, depending on the quality of soldier that we send them. And these are what we spend along with our freight resources, which we have 600 of at the moment, to upgrade our facilities. And then the 10 next to that is how many personnel orders we have. We can order new staff up to a value of 10. Different staff cost different amounts. So, with that explained,
Sir, medics are on the way.
let's get our first patient collected. You'll see our staff making their way around. We're also going to start immediately getting some improvements going. So we need to create the pharmacy. This will allow us to create our own medical supplies. This will just take 1 hour to build. 1 hour is 1 minute in game. So we'll apply someone there to get that started. We're also going to get some other upgrades going as well. We've got 4 categories. Scouting doesn't unlock until a little bit later in this chapter, but housing, production, healing, these are all available right from the start, and they have various different costs. So you can see this one will take 5 minutes, 3 draft notes, and 100 supplies to do. That is something I am going to immediately get going, and I'm also going to preemptively assign some other improvements as well while we still have some supplies. Our current storage allows us to have up to 1,000 freight supplies, and we will hit that cap, and then we'll just be not getting anything else through until we kind of run out of that. So I want to spend preemptively to try and make sure that we don't hit that cap again. We're also going to go with an upgrade to our surgery bay. I know we keep applying the same people over and over again. I'm going to bounce them around once they're done with a job, but I don't want us to hit the cap and then not be able to bring in additional supplies. Let's get the rehabilitation speed up a bit as well. So now that we've got no freight supplies left, we can't build anything else that costs supplies, but there are a couple of things that we can dial in that don't need supplies just yet. Like the chemical ward we could drop in. Let's go to production. I do want these. I don't have enough notes for those or supplies for the autoclave, so we'll have to wait a moment on those. So let's get everything running. So you can see here our engineer. Oh, did we actually assign them to the right places? Let's have a look. Engineers. So rehabilitation activities. I don't want him on that. Let's move him to the pharmacy. Get the pharmacy up and running. We want the X-ray up and running quickly as well, because that will give us an improved chance with surgeries. Here we go. And there's the ambulance having dropped someone off. He's now waiting not to run over a pedestrian. We'll loop around the facility and head back to the front line.
Sir, engineers reached the pharmacy.
You can see we're now starting to build our pharmacy. We've got more patients in here now. So let's see. The stars on the side of the cards determine the strength of your chance with the operation. So you can see this guy here. It's a demanding operation, which means it'll tire out our surgeon quite a bit. Chance of failure is pretty high. Hopefully we can counteract that with our nurses. Complication chances and simplification chances are uncertain. And we get a little bit of blurb about the soldier to try and humanize them a little bit more, give you a little bit of background. So you can see this guy was a sergeant in the local police who received a commendation for capturing a serial killer. It's supposed to try and give you a bit more weight behind your decision. Let's have a look at this guy. Married with 3 children. Sometimes dreams of all the dead rising from no man's land and attacking them in the trenches. He's been playing Call of Duty Black Ops Zombies, basically. Let's see. This guy down here, he's going to die. You always, in your initial patients, always get one who is going to die. And so you can see this one here has a certain chance of failure. Those 6 stars there means that surgery is going to fail. So you've got choices. You can either send him in and hope against hope, or you can deny him access to surgery. He won't use up any supplies and he'll just be left to pass. It's brutal, it's harsh, but it is the grim reality, unfortunately, of trench warfare. There will always be some that you cannot save, no matter what. And they will come in various different degrees of condition as well. You can see this one up here is stable. He's got 2 gunshot wounds. This one's only got the 1 gunshot wound. He's in better condition. So logic suggests that we start with this guy first. We only have the 1 surgeon right now. So let's apply him into the first queue, and then he will go into surgery afterwards. Like so. We can manually set the rest point for our doctor as well. We're not going to do that just yet. And while this guy is taken into surgery, you see him collected by our medical team.
Nurses reached the casualty clearing station.
Smoke is because we're upgrading. It's, building dust. It doesn't affect your chances of the operation. He'll get taken into the tent there, and the surgeon will now start to perform the operation. We've got a nurse in there as well, so you can see our operational success chance has gone up by 20%. There's a 26% chance reduction of there being a complication, which can make the surgery trickier or longer, or need more supplies. And the simplification process, which can speed up the operation or recovery or allow you to save some supplies, that's gone up by 26%. So that's the value of a nurse. Obviously, the more nurses you have in there, the higher those percentage numbers go. Same over here. You can see 1 nurse in here means that our wound deterioration speed is down by 10%, which is good. It means that the patients will survive a little bit longer before their situation becomes dire. We're going to go with getting the advanced dressing station up next. We will need that in probably about 10-15 minutes, maybe a little bit longer. And here's our rehabilitation center. So anyone who survived surgery will be brought down here. Big exclamation mark at the moment because we don't have a nurse in here. So anyone who comes in here will just sit and do nothing. There does need to be a nurse in there to get that working. We do have those staff notes, those personnel hire orders. So we're going to go ahead and order a second surgeon. He's worth 4 for the first one. The next one will be worth 5. Engineers cost 2. Medical teams cost 1. Nurses cost 3. But the first one only costs us 2. We're going to get an extra medical team, and we're going to get an extra engineer. That's going to leave us 1 note left, which we will save for later. There we go. So those staff are coming. And if we wanted to order some resources, we could as well. Now, these take military drafts, or chits, as I'm probably going to call them, as you'll hear me call them from time to time. So you can see two chits will get us 5 surgical supplies. It's not a lot. Chemical supplies, 5 costs us 3 chits. Same for trauma. Food rations, we get, I think, 20 for 1 chit, and alcohol, we get 10. Might be 10 food rations, I'm not sure. So we're going to try and avoid using our military drafts for supplies, but there will probably come a time where we absolutely have to, because otherwise we're just not going to be able to treat any patients, because we'll have run out of supplies. We will almost certainly be buying trauma supplies and possibly chemical supplies this way for this chapter. Hopefully we can avoid buying too many medical supplies. And you can see that train has just delivered some more resources. They'll get taken to our warehouse, which is just here. And we've now got 250 extra freight supplies, and I think normally we would have got some extra food as well, but you know, only a little bit. And our food is currently maxed, which is why it's in green. All right, another project has started. That is the engineer who's up here building our advanced dressing station. The trenches are just above us. Here they are. So you can see you've got a little network of trenches. There are some soldiers dotted around in here. See, a couple will just move around delivering supplies, but you will have some soldiers on guard. It doesn't look like we have actually any in here right now, which kind of makes sense actually because of the storyline. The trenches will become active very, very soon. We do also, if we have a little explore, a little camp up here, a little training camp. Got some soldiers going through their paces. Obviously we've got the ADS just there, and then as we scroll down here we've got our cemetery, so anyone who does not survive surgery or is denied a chance of surgery ends up here. Train stations there, warehouse there, pharmacies here. We need to start making some supplies because we will run out very quickly, so we'll apply him there. We've got a scout tent. Scouts don't get unlocked until a fair bit later. Our canteen here, this is where we can determine the quality of rations that we issue out. At the moment we only have the 2 half rations, which will steadily decrease morale, so you know, we want to avoid that. You can see it's minus 2.9% morale every meal while that's active. It's never good to let your morale plummet. Normal rations, morale doesn't get affected, but you do use, you know, more food. And then hearty rations here will give you a boost to morale, but obviously will cost more rations. And then over here we have our engineering depot. So this is where we can manufacture alcohol for medical supplies or rations, and then the rations themselves. And again, each of these buildings can be upgraded, and this is where our staff live when they're off duty. We have a limit, as you can see, to how many people we can have in at any one time, so we can go in and we can expand the living quarters to allow for more staff to be added in each of those categories. And as far as surgeons go, if you want to have more surgeons, you need to have more surgical bays available inside your operating ward, and that means you need to do these upgrades here, because these are what free up your extra slots. So we have 2 slots available at the moment. This will give us a 3rd slot, and then that will give us up to 5 slots. Right, so our first patient is going through surgery right now. We've got one waiting. You can see here, progress of his operation is up to 65% done. Let's see if he survives. Alright, X-ray has been done. That will improve... Oh, no, wait. X-ray construction was... Yes, X-ray construction was finished. That increases our chances of a success by 25%, which is very nice. Is there anything we can get started? Not with just the one note, not really. I'd like to work on something over here to get our... Oops. Get more value out of our supplies, but and produce quicker, but we need a couple more notes, unfortunately. Next train will arrive in about 20 seconds, as you can see. It's supposed to be 20 minutes. And this one is going to bring our new staff. So our new surgeon, our new medical team, our nurse, and our engineer. Here they come. And let's immediately get these assigned to various different things. So we want to make sure that we have a nurse in here. So let's go with her to the rehabilitation centre. We've got an extra engineer over here. Both of these jobs have been, we're going are finished. So we'll slap this one here in the rehabilitation centre. And we'll drop this guy here on the surgery and they'll get straight to work. And we now have a new medical team as well. So we've got a spare guy just here. For now, we're going to drop him up here. We shouldn't need him down here for a while. But there will be times when you just don't have enough staff to do what you need to do or want to do. And there will be times when you don't have enough resources to treat your patients. Yeah, it really forces you to make some tough choices at some point. How's that operation coming on? Almost finished. This guy looks like he's going to survive, which means the other guy probably won't. Game always likes to throw a failed surgery at you pretty early on. It might be this guy, actually. Let's see. Did he survive?
Sir, nurses are on the way. Sir, we lost.
He didn't. So he will now be collected by our team here from the cemetery. Here you see them running. And once they clear that patient from the table,
Sir, medics reach the advanced dressing station.
a team from here will then immediately pick up the next patient and transport him into the surgery. There you go. They've already picked up the next patient. And there you see he's being transported off to the cemetery. Right, we do have 2 surgeons now. We've got 2 more patients waiting for treatment. So let's go inside the CCS. Let's get this guy in straight away. And let's go him up here. That's going to tire out this doctor because he's already done an operation as well. So we're going to set a rest point for him just there. So that he doesn't become too tired. The more tired they get, the longer it takes them to recuperate. And if you go too long, then they have a real risk of collapsing in the middle of a surgery, which effectively kills the patient and means you lose that doctor for a good 12 hours or more while he recovers from exhaustion. Which is really not what you need. It's hard enough with the medical staff that you have. Taking a surgeon away from you, yeah, it just guarantees that you are condemning a load of casualties to death because you can't treat them. And there is our 1 casualty on the sheet. So that's 2 patients, and we haven't saved either of them. Not off to a great start, but this guy who's currently going in, well, both of these two should survive. So we should start turning things around. At the top, underneath the time tracker, you can see we're currently in the ruthless category. Obviously, if more patients die than survive, then you are deemed ruthless at the end of the chapter. If more survive than die, then you are deemed humanitarian at the end of the chapter. Chapter 1, there's a trophy for finishing in humanitarian. Chapter 2, there's a trophy for finishing ruthless. There is also a trophy for finishing any chapter with no lean either way, so neutral, straight down the middle. I've got the humanitarian trophy. Haven't done the other ones yet. And you can see that with that death as well, our patient has, our morale has dipped to 49%. So casualties that fail surgery will take a fair bit of morale from you. If you are in a position where you know patients aren't going to be able to survive, or you just can't treat everybody and you have to make the decision, it's better to just come down here to the denied and just deny them the surgery straight away, because you will lose less morale from denying them surgery than leaving them, you know, in the queue waiting and hoping that they might actually get the chance for surgery only to then die on the table. That will affect your staff a lot more. So sometimes you have to be ruthless. Alright, let's speed things up a bit.
Sir, operation was successful.
Hey, we've saved our first casualty. Saved them both. So, as you can see, being brought down to our rehabilitation centre. There we go. The second one has also survived his operation. Now we just need to wait for more medical casualties to come in. We've improved our rehabilitation centre. This will speed up how quickly they recover, but you still need a nurse in here for people to actually recover. So we're going to go inside and have a look at those two patients now. So if we look at this first gentleman here, Aubrey, you can see he has a black bar at the top, which means he can only generate up to 2 combat power, which is the clear lines underneath, the clear chevrons, which will become red as he recovers. That will indicate how much combat strength he has if we send him to the trenches. The more the better. If we choose to send him to HQ, we will get 2 war bonds, 2 promissory notes, 2 chits, for sending him to HQ. And if we choose to release him from service and send him home to good old Blighty, then he will give us a 2% morale bump. So you can see, again, we get to have a look at his card. We can see the order of his treatment, when he was admitted, diagnosed, when he was assigned a surgeon, when that surgery was then carried out, if he was moved around in the queue, etc. That will all come in there. And if he gets injured and comes back, we'll see all the previous history in here as well. And again, we get to see that little bit of information about him to try and temper your decision. This guy married with 3 children, former hammerman. We are going to send almost everybody to HQ. I'm going to hang on to Yang just here in the pending column for now, because we will need to send some to the trenches. We're just going to wait for that to activate. Let's wait for some more people to turn up. It's a good idea to always check your fatigue levels as well. While we've got a moment here where there's no casualties that need our attention, we're going to give these nurses a bit of a rest. This engineer has finished his project. You can see we're back up to over 400 supplies. Once he's rested, we're going to start doubling up here to speed up until we can afford to do some more upgrades. Oh, and speaking of, here come more patients. So let's bring the nurses back. Hopefully they will have got a little bit of rest. Let's put one in each.
Nurses are on the way.
Let's see how serious these two are. It might be 3, but I think it's only 2.
Sir,
Yes,
new
2.
patient arrived.
Alright, so single gunshot wounds. I generally try and save the ones with the most combat potential. So you can see we've got 3 red chevrons on Hoyle Etherington and 2 on Loman Whitaker. So I try and save the ones who've got the highest combat potential first. For 2 reasons. One, if we need to send them to the trenches, that gives us good strength in the trenches. Likewise, if we don't need them in the trenches, it's extra notes that we can gain from HQ, which will allow us to continue to upgrade our hospital or buy additional supplies. So I generally try and save the strongest candidates first. You know, when I've got equal kind of decisions like this. Obviously, this is a more demanding surgery. This one's a much easier surgery, only 1 star. And there's obviously a time difference in what's involved there as well. But that's how I generally approach it. I always try and save the strongest potential first. But I will move people around in the queue based on how severe their injuries are or what their chances are in terms of how long they can survive without treatment.
Sir, nurses are on the way.
So there's our ambulance pootling through the facility to head back out to the front again.
Sir, nurses reached the hospital.
And there he goes. Right, should get a communication very soon. Right, that engineer's taking a break. Let's check in with the other engineer who's just about finished resting. Let's get him here to help speed up our surgical supplies. So you'll see... Oh, hang on, let's just slow it, pause it for a second actually. You'll see that the rate will go up at a faster rate with 2 engineers assigned. Your staff can actually develop experience over time and gain perks, and you get to choose the perks. Some will naturally just occur that you can't really do anything about initially, but can potentially rehabilitate them with a replacement perk at some point later. And you can see we have a little flashing blue exclamation. Now, when we get a little symbol like that flashing on one of the patients in surgery, blue means it's a simplification, a chance to speed up the operation, speed up their chances of recovery, or save some supplies. Red is bad. Red is a complication, or we might need more supplies, might need a longer operation, might create a much longer rehabilitation. So blue is good, red's bad. Let's see what the case is here. Okay, so this will simplify the operation, and it also reduces the chance of complications down from 4 to 2 as well. Nice. Let's get the ball rolling again.
Sir, engineers reached the pharmacy.
And they saw how quickly that bar moved once we put the second engineer in there. Each full percentage, it gives you 1 medical supply. So we're down to 28. We started with 40. And as I say, we do not get medical supplies as standard from HQ. If we want them, we would have to cash in promissory notes, wartime bonds, etc. The chits. She's looking a little bit tired, which is okay for now. Still hanging on to that soldier in the pending. This one is 3 minutes away from going to HQ and giving us 2 extra notes.
Sir, operation was successful. Dispatch from HQ. Sir.
Here we go.
Sir,
This is
our
the
defensive line has been
HQ
broken.
call I was waiting for.
Multiple casualties. The 36th Division is in retreat.
Oh my, that is terrible news.
Another bunch of those poor bastards will be here soon. I'll better check our stocks.
What about the hospital? Are we to evacuate the facility?
No, sir. HQ gives us no such orders, sir. In fact, there were no orders for us.
Dun dun dun. And that is where we're going to end episode 1. So, that is a kind of introductory look to War Hospital. I'm going to continue recording and just knocking out a whole load of these episodes. And I hope you enjoy this series. We will be releasing a couple of episodes a day for the first couple of days, and then it'll be one a day until it's done. So, thanks for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this look at War Hospital. And if you want to see some more, it will be available on the channel very soon.